Hello everybody, thank you for coming in. We will just wait 1 or 2 more minutes for all the attendees to come into the webinar and then we will start shortly. Welcome to our webinar, How Intelligent Tour Planning Saves Costs for Your Fleet, a real-world example with SATLOG and HERE Technologies. Thank you for taking the time to participate today. I'm Jessica Hablowitz, Marketing Manager at MBI, and I will be moderating this session. Together with our long-standing partner HERE Technologies, with whom we've done many webinars over the last 2 years, we decided to join forces for another joint webinar. Thank you to the HERE team and especially Petros for joining us with his expertise on tour planning today. In addition, we are very glad to have Dr. Jürgen Stausberg, Managing Director at our partner SATLOG, here with us today. We are looking forward to learn how intelligent tour planning saves costs for your fleet in a real-world example. Again, thanks to everybody for your collaboration and joining us for this webinar. After a short introduction, we will dive into HERE tour planning with Petros Kaplanidis, who is the product manager at HERE Technologies. During the second part of the webinar, Dr. Jürgen Stausberg will provide insights on how HERE tour planning benefits the Oracle cloud-based solution for food and beverage distribution. This will include challenges during implementation, the impact of tour planning, as well as the benefit of the overall solution. To finish off today's webinar, we will have a Q&A session where our experts will answer questions that might come up during the presentation. The webinar will be kicked off by Karina Ziegelmüller, Global Partner Manager at MBI. Prior MBI, Karina was with HERE Technologies for about 12 years. There, she was responsible for building up the partner ecosystem in Europe and APAC, focusing on solution partners through various industries. Secondly, we are very happy to have Petros Kaplanidis from HERE Technologies presenting at today's webinar. Petros is a product manager with a strong customer-centric culture. Having an engineering and business background, he currently is responsible for HERE tour planning. He joined HERE Technologies 7 years ago and since then actively contributed as an engineer or product manager to innovate location-based services with a focus on fleet applications, mobility, and the consumer application Here We Go. Our second guest for today's webinar, Dr. Jürgen Stausberg, Managing Director of SATLOG, has a proven track record in fleet management in various industries. He wrote his doctoral thesis on truck driver motivation in private fleets and worked in different functions as a consultant, in-house logistics controller, and managing director. He founded SATLOG in 2000 to automate fleet data generation, logistics process controlling, and tour optimization. His team tailors fleet digitalization and the order flow to trucks to the specific industry needs. Before we start, I would like to add a few information on housekeeping. Firstly, you've all been muted to avoid background noise during the presentations. We will have some polls during this session and would like to kindly ask you for your participation. If you have any questions during the webinar, please use the questions pane. We will answer them during our Q&A session at the end of the webinar. If there's not enough time to answer all your questions, we will get back to you via email. Last but not least, a copy of the slides as well as the recording of the webinar will be shared with you later on. So enough talking from my side. Karina, please get the presentation started.
Thank you, Jessica, for the introduction, and a very warm welcome to everyone from my side, especially a very hot one. We're sitting here in the south of Germany and hitting nearly 30 degrees. So I think after today's webinar, we all deserve a little break and a little visit in the beer garden. So before that, first, I want to thank our partners SATLOG and HERE to present their solution today. We already had some webinars with HERE in the past, as Jessica said, but this is the first one where we have a partner presenting their solution and their story. So listen very carefully, and we're very excited about that. So we already have a collection of webinars covering different topics at YouTube, which you can watch on demand anytime later. Well, it's great to see we have some new people attending today. Thanks for that. And that's why we just give a little introduction who we are and what we do. So MBI has been founded back in 2009. And as said, we're based in Karlsruhe in the beautiful south of Germany. Since then, we have expanded our offering by acquiring a Michael Bauer Micromarketing in Düsseldorf and Conias Risk Intelligence in Heidelberg, where we also open our academy with lectures about global political risk data in July. So stay tuned. If you're interested in what's going on in the world, it's definitely worth visiting. With our portfolio, we support not only SRIM precisely, as you see, but also smaller partners active around the globe with our portfolio. So, and MBI and HERE were partners for over a decade before we became one of the first global HERE distributors in 2020. I think we can move on to the next slide, please. Right. So here you see our portfolio, which covers a huge range of products like global boundaries and market data for very special analytics and expansion planning, global mobile trace data, which allows us to serve new use cases and consumer densities and purchasing journeys. It opens up really new markets for our clients and help them to grow. With political risk data, the Conias portfolio, we offer unique data, which gives you insights into political risk resilience of countries and regions to manage a sustainable supply chain. There is another webinar happening. I just do a little advertising here. Sorry for that. On Friday with another partner in German. So if you're interested in what's going on in China and how it may impact your supply chain, it's definitely worth checking it out. So, and being a HERE distributor, it's a perfect fit to all of our offering. And we do offer HERE location services, HERE data, and the whole traffic portfolio and support different use cases and industries. If you want to learn more about us, just visit our website on www.mbi-geodata.com. So, and I stop now and I let Petro do his performance. Enjoy everyone and talk later.
Thank you, Karina. So Petros, I'm giving over to you now and we are looking forward to some insights into HERE tour planning.
Hello, everyone. Let me share my screen. Perfect. First thing first, I would like to thank Jessica and Karina for setting up the stage for me and also making the intro. And I'm very happy basically to have this chance to be here with you and to discuss about tour planning. If there is one thing that we know, and we have understood very good from our interaction with the experts performing in the industry, is that they face very big challenges and stress during their daily work. Fleet managers or dispatchers have to take very important decisions every day that they have impact to their company success. Especially the last years, the pressure has significant grow because of several reasons, and one of them basically is us, the customer expectation. Most of us, we have changed our demands. Our willingness to wait for something we order has reached to zero. People is thinking, can I just click on the buy button and have the item already delivered on my desk? The competition of who will serve faster and with the most flexible way the customer is everywhere, from e-commerce to grocery deliveries. Of course, this has also impact to the cost of these activities. The cost of the delivery has also significantly increased. Last mile space has reached to be 50% of the delivery cost of a company. And all these points make it even more clear the importance for our customers to improve their operational efficiency, to lower the cost by optimizing their fleet with the best possible way, and be able to offer an experience that would make their end customers to come back again and again. There is where true planning can support. Our product, combined with other solutions, and mainly with the expertise of these people, can help them to make faster and better decisions in this very challenging environment. We will analyze in more detail during this webinar the main responsibilities of the product, the functionality, but the most important part is to understand the expected benefits for our users. As an abstract summary, I would say that with Tut planning, we target to help fleet managers to optimize their service more efficiently, to reduce significant the planning time, to take decisions with more clarity on data, and be able in the end to offer a better customer experience. Deep diving into the product main responsibilities, we should mention that the service is solving the vehicle routing problem. Many people will ask, what does it really mean? What is vehicle routing problem? And basically here, the important is to answer what is exactly the real life use cases or the needs that our product will help the customers to resolve. And for that, I would reply that the service is allowing companies to optimize for the whole fleet by taking into account several constraints with just a single request. We can divide the responsibilities into two main parts. The first one is when a dispatcher will create the initial plan of the day, and then when something will happen during the execution of it, to be able to adapt and dynamically replan the existing schedule. Let's think together the following very simple example. Our fleet is already on the way and performing the plan we had already dispatched to our drivers, and a new job is appearing to our system. At that moment, as a fleet managers, we'll have to answer some important questions. For example, can we serve this job based on the current plan and the status of it? When we can do it, because we have to notify the customer. How and who basically have to do it. Tour planning can support to find answers to these questions with a pretty quick and efficient way by taking into account many parameters. Mentioning about parameters, of course, they are quite important because, first of all, they are increasing the complexity of the problem. The more we define, the more complex the problem is becoming, and also think the combination of them. But at the same time, also represent the capabilities. The main functionalities the product is offering can be described by that. To simplify, we can divide them in three main categories. For the vehicle definition, the user can define different vehicle modes: car, truck, scooter, bicycle, pedestrian. Based on the option of the user, different routing profile will be used and optimized. We can have basically different starting locations for each individual vehicle and also end locations. The vehicles can come back to the depot, can end up the duty in a custom location or in the last optimized job. The user can define different attributes for his fleet, physical characteristics that they will influence also the routing optimization. Users can define if some of the vehicles have some unique equipment. For example, if some vehicles for our fleet, they have a fridge, then jobs that they would require a fridge. will be allocated only to vehicles that have this equipment. Users can define also the maximum distance in case that they want to simulate scenarios for electrical vehicles or for postman use cases. We know that for many countries there are laws that they protect the postmen to not exceed the maximum walking distance during the shift. So maximum distance can be used and be applied as a constraint during the optimization process. The second main input is the job definition. There, the user can define different activities, of course. If it's a pickup, a delivery, or both, if we have to pick up a package from somewhere and deliver it to another location. We can define different time windows with a break in between in case we want to visit an office, for example, that they take a break during the day. Territories can be defined for the vehicles, but also for the jobs. And this is quite important because optimizing inside the territory is giving the advantage to the company. First of all, to allocate only drivers that they are familiar with a specific area of a city, or to build personal relation between the driver and the recipient, something very important in the industry as well. Skills, as I mentioned earlier, if our jobs require some skill from the driver or some equipment from the jobs, then this can be defined and it will match with the equipment of the vehicles. We know that many companies also starting offering some premium accounts for deliveries. Users here can define the priorities, different levels for each job, and then this will be considered during the optimization process. Last part of the input, the driver parameters, the shift time, if our drivers want to take some break and the location of it, or if they have some unique skills. More or less, this is basically the input that our users can configure. And then our API will return a solution, a response, that it will include a ready-to-dispatch tour plan. What this means is, if we see here the JSON file example, we can divide it in two main parts. On top, the first part is the general statistics, where they include information about the total cost, the distance, or the duration that our vehicles will be used. The second part is the individual tours. There we will find information for each vehicle, the optimal sequence of stops that they have to follow, the capacity, and also the estimated time of arrival and departure of these locations. So at this point, I would like to abstractly again summarize all the topics that we have discussed now by describing our product value proposition. Tour planning is supporting logistics and service providers who would like to utilize their fleet efficiently to reduce costs and offer better customer experience. We want to differentiate in three high-level points. First one, we offer to our customers a quick way to integrate their two existing solutions or to newly developed ones, our service. We want to reduce the time and the effort from the evaluation phase to release and help them to reach the market as soon as possible. Second point, as I was describing earlier, the problem the service is solving is quite complex, and there are many parameters that can be configured. We want to provide an easy interface that it will give the ability to, with a user-friendly way, to allow customers basically to adapt their requests in order to simulate their operational model and needs. Last but not least, the core value that our product is offering. We provide a state-of-the-art optimization that is based on two key contributors. The top-class location data that our HERE platform includes and we take into account during the optimization process, and the in-house developed algorithm that is a result of innovative effort. The combination of these two make us very confident to say that our solution can have significant impact to the customer requirement and help them achieve their expectation. I will close my presentation by explaining the main use cases that we see the product can be used and add value. Again, on this slide, I'm trying to categorize in order to simplify the things. So we can see two main cases. The first use case that I would like to discuss is the pre-planned deliveries. The need here is to identify an efficient way to optimize for a large number of stops and simplify the fleet planning and dispatching. We can see two subcategories where in the first one, we have a standard amount of vehicles to use. And what is really changing is the distribution of jobs and the main constraints on them. This can change basically dynamically from one day to another. And the second one is where the job network is more or less stable. Think scenarios of cash collection and distribution for ATM machines, for example, or garbage collection points, where mostly the only parameter that often changing is the demand. And based on that, we need to optimize our fleet. The second main use case is falling under the category of same day or on-demand delivery. We expect, of course, the load to be smaller, but the problem still remains quite complex. Here, one of the main needs is to have very fast responses as a service. Of course, these are two generic use cases, and for them, several applications can be developed to solve specific problems falling under these categories. I just want to show you a quick overview of them and where we see that the service can provide value, and also the range of applications that can be used. But before I start discussing about the range of application, I would like to say that Here to Planning is a service that was built on top of a Here platform. And this is coming with several benefits. Platform is offering several generic services that they are industry agnostic and they provide top class enterprise data. The richness of this data and the completeness of the map content is also one of the main advantages of our product. But as we move towards more specific use cases, for example, for transport and logistics, we needed to build a solution with focus on specific customer requirements. And there is where True Planning is supporting for last mile applications, e-commerce or groceries deliveries, field services. I mentioned the example with the garbage collection, middle mile scenarios, long haul optimization distances, on-demand delivery, or this very fast grocery delivery that currently is booming in the market, car sharing, and many more applications. And with that, I would like to close my presentation and the intro for True Planning. And I can say that I'm very excited to see one of these amazing applications that can use True Planning, the SATLOG one. So Jessica and Jürgen, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much for those interesting insights, Petros. Now I'm giving over to Dr. Jürgen Stausberg for a demo of Here Tour Planning in SATLOG solution.
Okay, thank you for having me here today. Thank you to MBI, thank you to Here. And I will guide you in the next 30 minutes into tour planning and benefits of tour planning, saving cost for your fleet. So we are here and running here since more than 20 years, and we are happy to work with MBI since more than 1 or 2 years, and we got strong support. So I'm talking about distribution and distribution fleet, and this is what you see here. For example, on a daily basis, in the morning at 6 o'clock, putting chilled food into a truck and delivering to 20 trucks and several hundred customers. So this is the business of where you get the most out of tour planning. And what is it, what you can get out? Some big figures: 38% in cost reduction per kilogram, or even more if you don't look to the time windows. What that means, I will explain it within this presentation. After a short introduction, what are the challenges and goals? Part 1, I will define some wordings to clarify what tour planning is and what tour planning is not. And part 2 is most important. What are the requirements for tour planning? And then maybe most of interest for you, how is it and how it is working in real life. So telling about SATLOG. SATLOG is on the market since 2000 and has different areas where we are working. We are working in construction, we are working in chilled food delivery, we are working in bakery, we are working in recycling industry, automobile transport, not to forget the beverage industry, beverage wholesale, and breweries, and as well the milling industry. So different industries. All characteristic of all is distribution and fixed deliveries to customers and so on. We do projects. We analyze the weak spots in the companies before we do regular service, and we do the measures, how to make and analyze what is to do better truck size, better time window, better loading times, and so on. Every customer has a certain workflow, so we tailor the whole system always to the workflow of the customer. Order management, proof of delivery, is this sent directly to the end customer via email and so on. And we are not only developing such solutions by building blocks on basis of Oracle Cloud, we do as well the service. So we develop and then we run 24/7, and this since 22 years. We have 5.6 million stops in our database, and we get every second a position from a truck. What is the today's business challenge in this industry I mentioned? The big challenge is closed restaurants, pandemic, opening and closing. So if you have pre-planned delivery fixed routes from your ERP system, you will deliver only 50% loaded trucks if you don't react. And this is a situation of closing and opening of the customers and of the end customers, of the delivery points. As well, if you look to the gas station, increasing fuel prices, incredible currently. This is a big point to now reduce kilometers to keep the travel costs regarding the fuel in a range and environment, CO2 footprint, so reduce kilometers, reduce CO2, and as well a business challenge is driver shortage. So companies are facing driver shortage and needs to change routes because they don't have drivers. If you talk to fleets and currently what are goals, possible goals, they say reacting to pandemic. So reacting to the opening and closing, and to make routes better. And as well, if you're a wholesale company, you cannot change anything on product prices, but you can change on logistic cost, and to make a better price for the end customer is something people want. And the digitalization is in every discussion. So make the process workflow better than before using the new technologies which are arriving. Better service. Customers like to get some fixed deliveries at a certain time. So meeting this time windows and very complex situation. And yeah, react to environment. So these are goals we hear. So maybe Jessica, you have prepared some polling and
yes, thank you. We will launch the poll question now because, of course, we now would like to know what you want to achieve with tour planning. So the options are better service for customers, better prices for customers, better fleet utilization in Corona times, digitalize the fleet, or better CO2 footprint. And of course, you can also choose several of these answers if they apply to you. And I will give you some time now to vote, and then we will move on. Okay, the votes are coming in. I will just wait a couple more seconds and then we will close the discussion. So if you haven't put in your vote yet, you have the chance to do that now. Okay, great. Thank you everyone who participated, and I will close the poll now and share the results with you. So it doesn't line up to 100% because obviously you could choose multiple answers. So 67% want better service for customers, 25% better prices for customers, 33% better fleet utilization in Corona times, 67% digitalize the fleet, and 33% the better CO2 footprint. So the better service for customers and digitalization of the fleet are the most important topics to you. So with that, I will give back to Jürgen and we can go on with the presentation.
Thank you very much. So this is kind of confirmation, digitalization of the fleet and good customer service. This is what we can achieve. So when we talk to tour planning, though sometimes the wording is mixed. So some people talk about routing, others talk about sequence optimization and so on, and they mean something different. So to clarify, routing is a point-to-point calculation. So we have two addresses, you key in start and you key in end, and routing does the optimal route and the kilometers and so on. If you go to sequence optimization, then you have not only 2 points, you have maybe 7 or 10 points, but in one area. So it's all a tour, but you want to have the optimal sequence of the customers within this tour. So this is sequence optimization as well, looking to the time windows and so on. And then you have tour planning, and this is something which is most complex and where the benefit is, the biggest benefit you can get is you have like 300, 400, 500 or more stops or orders, and you send it to tour planning, and tour planning makes out of this 400 like 20 tours, optimize the sequence within the tours and matches to the trucks you have. So this is tour planning, and this third part is the part we are talking about here. And tour planning is all about addresses and geolocation. So when you plan tours, you only have a customer number and an address. Maybe you probably have some quantity to load, and maybe you have some time window, but you don't have a longitude and latitude. And to optimize something, you need longitude and latitude. So the address needs to have geolocation. This is what Petros said. This is the big advantage of the whole environment of here, that you have the big geolocator in the background. You send this address to geolocator, and seconds or milliseconds later, you get the latitude and longitude, and you can calculate with latitude and longitude and provide it on the map. Quantity is important. Normally, you need a logistics quantity, so like kilograms or like pallets or like crates, beer crates or whatever, because you have to look to the capacity of, this is another thing, capacity of the truck. And it's not so important to have each article you load, like article number so-and-so Coca-Cola, article number so-and-so like beer and so on. It's the logistics quantity you need. Time windows. You cannot do a good tour planning if you don't have the time windows. If you don't know time window, if you have customers who not care about time windows, you're in a very lucky situation. But if not, then you have to look that their time windows are correct. And then you have the variable costs of the truck and the fixed costs. So here, tour planning is optimizing costs. So the input of it is a kind of truck profile. And in this truck profile, you have the variable cost of the truck and the fixed cost per hour, and the salary of the truck driver is included. So capacity, already told about. Depot opening times is important because if you need to meet a certain time window, your truck should start at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, so the depot should be open at that time. And customer stopping times in variable and fixed separation. So variable is depending on the load. As more load you have, as more crates you have for the customer, as more barrels or as more rolling cages or whatever, then lower unloading time. And fixed time, like for paperwork, which is normally fixed per customer. So this is all about, and this is where you have to look into when you start tour planning. And you have to look into the whole workflow. You have an ERP system like SAP or Orgasoft, or big Oracle has as well ERP system. So get the data out of the ERP system where your orders are in and where you write your invoice later, and you need to send that to the optimizer. So in our case, you send it to the SATLOG server, and there is the optimizer running. Make the geolocation and optimization. Send it to the loading list. We call it loading list. So send it to the warehouse. Send it to the people which collect the goods and pick up the goods in the warehouse, and send it to the loading dock and load the truck in the right sequence with the right products. And then in the track we have the navigation to the customer. I will show you later. And at the customer we have the proof of delivery. So the receipt that you got the order, and this is back to the ERP system, and from there it's documented, and then invoices sent. Requirements. So these are the steps. So we use the pictures as steps. You have to follow certain steps if you want to have a good tour planning, and you have challenges to beat. And if you look to the picture, then you see a picture which is more than 20 years old. At the beginning of SATLOG, we went to this fleet, and we asked how you make the dispatch. I said, oh, I have a board, and I put my orders on the board. And you see it here. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 different routes, and you put some slips of paper for the trucks and what you dispatch. And I was so surprised. 5 weeks ago, I talked to a prospective customer and I asked him, how do you do your planning? And I said, yes, we print out our delivery notes and then we have a board and we put it on the board. And then we collect on the board and so on. So there is no idea about where the customer is. There's no idea when the capacity of the truck is full. There's no idea about the cost he's planning. So this is a challenge to change people from this kind of work to digital work. And we have driver shortage and dispatcher shortage. So if you have a driver shortage, then your new driver doesn't know the route. So this is a challenge, how to explain. And then a lot of companies take a co-driver and they drive with 2 drivers and the co-driver knows the route and teaches the other one. Expensive and time consuming and challenge as well. The dispatcher doesn't know the customer. You never see the customer, and he needs pictures of the customers, and time restrictions and very complex situations regarding temperatures and so on. If you have 400 different customers with time restriction, you cannot keep that in mind, and this is a challenge. As well, a challenge is you get all the fixed routes from the ERP system, which are pre-planned since years, and which are probably not profitable, especially in pandemic times. So, and to convince the people to forget about the fixed routes, to change time restrictions, to go to the computer and work on a route planner which runs a route within seconds or in short minutes instead of hours of planning, challenge. And as well,
Jürgen,
yes.
this is Karina. Hi, I just want to kindly give you some information that we only have about 10 to 12 minutes left for that part. And we also want to get to the demonstration.
I speed up. Okay.
Thank you.
And then you have not only these, but you have a lot of other kind of data you have to keep in mind, like orders and costs and so on. Track capacity, depot times, and customer unloading times, important as well as the costs of from the different departments. So from the HR department, you get driver costs. From the accounting, you get the repair cost, and from the investment ledger, you get the invest cost. So you have to put that all in one data warehouse and calculate this fixed cost per hour and variable cost per kilometers as input figure for the tour planning. And most important, you have to get the actual times from the delivery, from the customer delivery, and we do that with, you need some hardware, some telematics system to record the stopping times, and you get the tablet for the navigation. Stopping times, and with the stopping times, you make planned times like variable and fixed planned times you see here. And you have the data import, the REST APIs, and the manual import. I will show you later. And on a Dispo board, you see you have your map, and the data is sent to the truck, to the tablet in the truck, and the truck driver has not only navigation, but as well he can track the picture of the unloading situation from the server and gets help if he never was at this customer. So I guess before we go into the demo, Jessica, you have some polling?
Yes, so we have one more poll question for you, and I will launch it now. We would like to know from your side, what are your biggest challenges in the tour planning process? So please put in your answers now. Is it to change dispatcher and driver behavior, to get the data for planning from the ERP system and accounting, change delivery time windows of customers, change the logistics processes and workflows, or digitalize the workflow? And here as well, you can put in several answers if that's what applies to your business. And again, I will give you some more time to vote, and we would really appreciate if you could take part in the poll. Okay, I see a lot of answers coming in, and I will close the poll question now and share the results with you. So I think the biggest challenge is digitalizing the workflow for 70%, and then changing dispatcher and driver behavior, getting the data for planning, and changing the logistics processes. All got 30%. And the slightest challenge is changing delivery time windows of customers with only 10%. So with that, I will close the poll question again, and we can move on to you, Jürgen.
Okay, thank you very much. And it's yes, digitalization, 70% is right. I wonder about the 10% of time windows, because this is hard work, and there is a big benefit in our experience. Okay, we go to the demo, and in the demo you see here the Oracle Cloud Portal. There is just I go through some points. This is, for instance, the point-to-point routing with toll calculation, and this is like the truck locator we have on here for the truck positions, and where all this integration, MBI helped us a lot with support to do that, and as well we do the tracing, and with the nice here maps, the dispatcher can not only see the position on the map, but I told that sometimes he doesn't know exactly what is it for kind of customer. For instance, this is a big hotel, and he sees exactly where is the unloading position of the hotel, and as well he can see the traffic situation. So traffic is as well included, and you can see when the truck is too late, and so on and so forth. Okay, but our theme is tour planning. And as I told you that you have different ways of putting in data. So one thing is, if you are a small customer, you can do it manually, and you just key in very easy an address, and you can and you see that it is immediately on the map, and you can click in the map, and as well you can move the position to another real location in case you have to dispatch for a highway delivery of sand, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is manually input, and as well you can do then manual track and manual sequence optimization. So you can just click and have the optimal sequence. But this is not the real optimization. The real optimization I show you now, and this is for the 18th, and we have some data prepared, and you can upload this data from a CSV file, or of course you can have it from ERP system as a REST JSON call. So I told you that normally you only have addresses with a street and a postcode and a city, and then you have a date and time and an order number and so on, and you then press and say okay, enter. And then this more than 50 orders are inserted, you see immediately the cost of the orders, and you can change as well the positions and put it to the correct street, and then you press and say optimize. And we make it very easy. We said, okay, the customer should only press one button. And this is as well, push one button, it's the Oracle philosophy. And we have here 9 hours, and we have, in this case, time windows met. And then we press enter. And yeah, with several hundred orders, it runs into a spool, and this spool is then like 1, 2, 4, 3 minutes. And here you have the results online, because we are not so many orders, 63 to 51, so like 19%. And you see here the CO2 effect, 19 trees to plant to 12 trees to plant for the CO2, and kilometer difference and cost difference and so on. And then you can say, okay, I sent this again to the Dispo Board, and it sends it, and then you can send this to the truck and show you how this will look like into the truck now. And this is the truck side. So in the truck driver enters his code, or he has a chip card, and then he sees all these orders, and he can scroll down, and the orders are in the sequence he should drive. And in case you have the ERP system send the data, you can send as well articles. I just keyed in just streets and positions. I uploaded, but from the server you can put it as well in articles. And as well, you can key in manually. The truck driver can key in manually the addresses and get some information what to do. He clicks and navigates to the destination. This is most important, because the truck driver normally doesn't know what should be the next and so on. The truck navigation guides him through it. As well, he can key in ETA, so he gets the ETA, the estimated time of arrival for each customer, and this is sent as well to the server, so the server knows if there's a problem and not met. And he can key in beer, Coca-Cola, whatever in quantity, and he produces with this, or in construction, tons of sand and so on. And here he has return goods, return pallets, return crates, and so on. And he generates his electronic proof of delivery. So when he is at the customer, he adds this, and then he can add as well some problems, what he has got, like waiting time and so on, and can make pictures, and then gets a signature, electronic signature. And this is sent to the server, and there's a written document, proof document, and then you can send the get the result bill. Cost savings. When we started, we showed you some figures, so we cannot show you.
Can you share the slides in the big screen?
Thank you.
Slideshow. Yeah, thank you.
And we cannot show real-time data from customers, but I asked one customer showing him results we do with data. So here is like 16 trucks and like 120 stops and so on. So you see 26 cent to 16 cent, 38% in efficiency enhancement. And the number of trees, 105 to 82. And this is time windows met. Every customer has a strict time window. And if you say the time window is ignored, then we have 47%. And this is, therefore, the time window is most important. So this is what I showed you already. We make the customer result bill, cost per customer, cost per each customer delivery. This is our specialty. And when you look to a planning, what is before and what is after, before we have paperwork, we have standard routes, we have 50% truck loaded in this pandemic times, and after you can navigate to unknown customers. You can have a full load truck and kilometer and cost as target. So tour planning is this tool to enhance efficiency, and you can start easily with SATLOG. After the show, you just drop me an email, and then we will help you to get started with a plug and play situation with a cigarette lighter and the tablet you can put on the windscreen, and that will work immediately. And final slide, tour planning in the cloud, on hosted on AWS from by here, but you don't see that because in our cloud, Oracle Cloud environment, we make this REST calls to the APIs and so on. And yeah, high performance, very fast. And you don't need expensive consultants for installation and training. And yeah, has a straightforward and tailored to specific customer needs solution. So that was my talk about our experience with here tour planning. We are very happy to have this powerful system in the background, and we thank MBI for their help and support and for organizing this meeting.
Thank you, Jürgen. Jessica, we have one last poll question for now.
Yes.
Yeah, so we would be interested what do you want to learn more about. So if it's your tour planning, so we're happy to make an introduction to you, or if it's as a SATLOG solution, so we can actually bring you in contact with Jürgen, or you drop him an email directly, or you say, well, just I'm fine enough, I want to get off to my beer now. But please vote. Well, we would understand. It's very hot today. Okay, so we do have quite a good result. Just hit the button. We're nearly there. We reached the destination. Just a couple more seconds. It's kind of a race. I just see the polls are very good, very good. So I think we can close that for now. If you haven't hit the button, please do so. Awesome. Okay, so we got really good results in. So we have a high interest in the SATLOG solution with 67%. I'm sure Jürgen is very happy to consult you about that in more details. Here to planning, if you want to try and evaluate the solution, please reach out to us. We can help you also get it integrated quite quickly. And for those who are not interested in any of the above, we have a huge range of other products we sell. So maybe one of them is good for you. All right, Jesse, one question. I know you all want to take off into your deserved break, but I think we do have one question which is quite interesting to ask.
Yes. So sorry that we are tight with timing right now, but if you're interested to stay for the Q&A part, please feel free to do so. And otherwise, we will send you the recording as well, and you can check back for the Q&A part of the session if you have to leave for the next meeting. So the first question we got is for you, Petros. Is it possible to use here tour planning API standalone, or do I need all these REST API mapping, geocoding, and matrix routing in addition?
Okay, thanks, Jessica. Also, thanks for the person asking the question. So tour planning is a standalone product and can be used like that. Of course, if we start considering end-to-end solutions, the expectation is that there is a need for additional services to be used, for example, for map visualization or geocoding and routing. We saw this example also from the demo from Jürgen for SATLOG. So in this case, tour planning would be one of the main components. And in combination with these services, we would have a complete end-to-end application. So just to summarize, tour planning is a standalone product and can be used like that as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Petros. And because we are already behind schedule a little bit right now, we will answer all the other questions we got via email. And if you have a question after the webinar, feel free to just email us and we will get back to you. So yes, thank you to Petros for answering the questions again. And now we are reaching the end of the session. Again, we will share the slides and the recording of the webinar with you. And we hope that we were able to give you a small but interesting insight into your tour planning and its real-life use cases today. So thank you very much to all of our presenters, Karina, Petros, and Jürgen, and thank you all for taking the time to attend. And one last thing from my side, we are always very interested in your feedback and we want to improve further. So we would really appreciate it if you would take the time to answer some feedback questions right after I close the webinar in a second. And if you don't have time now, you will also be able to answer them through a link provided in the follow-up email. So thank you in advance and enjoy the rest of your day and the good weather outside. So bye for now.